Do you ever think about how men treat women like Thanksgiving dinner? There are way too many meals on the stovetop cooking at once. He'll focus on one dish, prep it real nice, and then let it simmer on low so it doesn't get cold while he checks on the next. Eventually, he'll come back to that dish, only to make sure it doesn't burn. But the turkey has his main attention, right? It's unstable, high maintenance, and unpredictable, but it's worth the effort. The problem is that it's a slow cook, and if he wants to get it just right, there's nothing he can do to rush it. So, until the turkey's ready, he'll dabble in some potatoes, some cranberries, some corn. And he doesn't like yams, but he'll cook it anyway because variety. And, men are all about variety and diversifying their portfolios or whatever. Seriously, for being perpetually underwhelming at everything all the time, it's a miracle men haven't naturally evolved into growing a third hand for all of the shit they passively dip into in any given moment. Women should just start dating each other so that natural selection forces men to become greater. But then again, it seems even in the evolutionary process, men will be disappointing. Chris Rock famously said that a man is only as faithful as his options. And it's true. Men are terrorists. The emotional kind, like they don't blow up buildings, but they do routinely blow potential. Think about it. Dating a man is like being taken hostage by somebody who hasn't yet thought about his demands. Like, at least a real terrorist actually commits after putting in some work, right? I genuinely believe that men and women are biologically incompatible. I really do. Ladies, there's a reason your mother tells you to marry a man who loves you more than you love him. It's because women are wired to create comfort in uncomfortable stability, and men are wired to chase the next high even when they've got a great girl settling at home. It's because men have a propensity to cheat. Like, I wish we could criminalize infidelity and legalize heroin because, it seems like everybody wants to cheat and nobody really wants to do heroin, right? Seriously, the only thing women get from men, especially beyond age 50, is humiliation. And I'm almost there. At 30 years old, I've accepted that I don't have a soulmate. And so I've just given up on my happiness. In fact, I recently quit therapy after trying it for 8 weeks, which coincidentally is exactly how long it takes to realize that healing is for people who have hope and who at least like themselves a little bit. And listen, my self-loathing has nothing to do with my qualities. If anything, I genuinely believe that I am the most incredible woman on earth. And sometimes even I can't believe I'm real. Like, I used to think that funny and sexy and smart were each mutually exclusive of each other until my 24th birthday dinner, when the stunning middle-aged woman sitting at the table next to me made her husband switch seats with her so that he wouldn't sit facing me all night. Because she knows. Middle-aged husbands are humiliation rituals on legs. In fact, I think I'm so impressive that I rented out an entire theater to perform my own comedy special to an empty audience, the most emotionally available audience I've had in years, with absolutely no prior experience. And it may not be a Netflix special, but make no mistake, this is a Hotchick special. That's how much I believe in myself. The reason I hate myself, though, is because the universe hasn't yet recognized my value, and it's fucking magical. So I'm mad at myself because I haven't done a good enough job at showing the world that someone like me exists. But you know what? Since my love life is a fucking joke anyway, I decided to bring my trauma to this stage. Because at 30 years old, with no hope of a soulmate and feeling eternally underappreciated by men, I think it's time to stand the fuck up. And what could I possibly have to lose at this point? Besides potentially the respect of my peers and my colleagues in my very serious, very unfunny professional career. It's true, I'm an attorney, a successful one, and I love my job. But it wasn't always like that. The first few years I spent at a law firm were really challenging. The partners made me miserable, and sometimes it felt personal, because as a Palestinian woman, it definitely was. I worked under one partner who emailed me every night after 8 p.m., another partner who emailed me every day on weekends, and a third partner who strictly operated from 8 to 6 on weekdays, but made my life hell every hour therein. They had the time and energy to ruin my life because they didn't have wives, just Wi-Fi. But I stayed with that firm as an attorney for 5 years as a new grad in that misery. Do you know why? It's because I'm a woman, and women create comfort in uncomfortable stability. We don't leave when things are hard. We just redecorate the suffering. We're like, yeah, this makes me feel bad, but it feels familiar. Fortunately, I'm at a place now where I'm happy and I'm treated really well. And I feel like I'm actually inspired to grow professionally. And honestly, I think that's precisely why I don't have a human soulmate, because it seems like men have adopted very specific standards that don't meet me. The main one, though, that I can't really wrap my mind around, and it's a very specific standard, is their requirement that a woman have calm, feminine energy. Listen, I'm smart, really smart. I know a lot of words and there are millions of connotations. I have 3 professional degrees, 2 in law, because like I said, I hate myself. In fact, I'm so good with words that I've published 2 best-selling poetry books. I do research for a living. I read between lines and I give professional advice to high-caliber players in high-stakes situations. For the life of me, I have no fucking idea what they mean by calm feminine energy. And believe me, if I don't understand the meaning of a phrase, the phrase is the problem. But whatever calm feminine energy is, I know I don't have that. Because what is feminine energy anyway, right? When I think feminine energy, I think groundbreaking, pioneering, formidable, tenacious, headstrong, badass. I think the ocean and fire and Mother Nature, who, by the way, is a Palestinian woman, which explains why there's been so many natural disasters the last couple years. Sis is fucking stressed. When men say feminine energy, they mean a subtle form of silent submission, shyness, uncertainty. A woman who would never tell jokes to a crowd, a woman who wouldn't have jokes in the first place, a woman who's unconscious. Do you know who else is modest, doesn't talk back, and has a calming presence? God. But men get so fucking pressed when you refer to God as a she, because men are also misogynistic. In this case, misGodynistic. Honestly, even using words like formidable and tenacious in the correct context is why most men would probably agree that I don't have feminine energy. That and all the F-bombs that I expertly drop. And listen, I'm not proud of the foul language that I sometimes employ, but just know that when I use it, it's curated and deliberate and is flooded with meaning. Like I said before, I know a lot of words, which means I am intentional with the words I use. And so I really hate when people use words lazily. Like when people say, have a good one, or alhamdulillah for everything. Could you be more specific? Have a good night. Alhamdulillah for this plate of yams that I will look at but won't touch. See, these things actually have meaning. And so it really grinds my gears when people use cuss words as fillers. I ordered the fucking... No. Fuck is a sacrosanct word. Use it respectfully or don't fucking use it at all. Honestly, when I drop an F-bomb, it's often a content word. Like in the car, for example. I recently discovered that my most used phrase when I'm driving is go fucker. And that has nothing to do with the fact that I've been in 10 car accidents and totaled 2 cars. That's all purely coincidental. Honestly, half of those weren't even my fault. And so it really upsets me when people try to paint me like an irresponsible driver. Like the other day, my dad asked me if I backed up into his car. I was appalled. I asked, why would you assume it was me? Because I'm a woman? You don't think it could have been either of my 2 brothers who also live with us? He said, because there's white paint on my front bumper, you have the only white car, you're parked in front of me, and you've done it before. Okay? But that's all circumstantial. Seriously, I'm a perfectly competent driver. In fact, I passed my driving test the second time I took it. But I will admit, I could be better. You ever hit a speed bump going 60 and your car hits you with the "say a command"? One thing I do often, inadvertently of course, is that I try to turn my car off while it's still in drive. Like I just forget to put it in park. It's just those little things, that I don't really pay attention to because it's fine, nobody's gonna die. Like if my car is making a weird noise, I just turn up the radio because the only way this becomes my problem is if I die, and that seems improbable. Like, what the fuck is an emissions test and why do I have to get one? What's in it for me? Honestly, the most feminine thing about me is probably my driving. But besides my language, there are other things about me that men would probably consider unfeminine. I have a secure career, I make great money, I'm funny and witty and sharp, I'm of above average height, I'm independent, loyal, generous, I have great hair and a nice smile. I'm confident, I'm fit, and I'm comfortable approaching people and starting conversations. I'm charismatic, an amusing flirt, and I tip really, really well. I am every woman's dream man. And that is why I can never embody what it is a man means when he says calm, feminine energy. Cut me a fucking break. I'm a Palestinian woman. There is nothing calm or feminine about my identity. I am complex by nature because I am both a weapon and a wound. My entire existence is survival, and survival doesn't come with a soft, tranquil vibe, my guy. Like what you're looking for is a Yankee candle. I'm a fucking Molotov cocktail, okay? As if it couldn't get more dire, though, interestingly, some men have given me the same exact feedback about my communication style. Apparently, I'm intense. Here's the thing. I'm smart, really smart. I know a lot of words and their millions of connotations. I have no fucking idea what they mean by intense. Am I intense because my mind takes half the time and effort as a man's to be funny and witty and responsive? Do I come on too strong because I have the confidence to say exactly what I feel instead of waiting to be cued into conversation? Do I live in fantasy because I don't believe that out of the 8 billion people on Earth, I'm so lucky that I'm going to find my soulmate in my city, population 50,000, 80% white conservatives? I'm a gambling woman, but even I don't like those odds. There are more potholes in this city than there are emotionally available men. Truly, I don't know what they mean by intense. But I'm done worrying about it. I'm done even thinking about it because men try to find logic in love, but love doesn't make sense. So good riddance to the men who called me intense. I told you I'm a fucking poet. I deleted all the apps, and like I said, I recently broke up with my therapist. That's how turned off I've become to any kind of emotional commitment. I don't even want to talk about my feelings once a month with someone that I've come to trust and enjoy. And I must say, as jaded as I was to even feel compelled to stop therapy after 8 weeks, I became even more jaded by my therapist's response when I told her I was done. I sent her an email. Hey, it's me. Let's cancel all future standing sessions. This isn't for me. I choose misery. Maybe that was dramatic, but I'm intense. A day went by. No response. 2 days, nothing. 2 weeks, ghosted. And suddenly, any healing that I had done over those 8 weeks was fully undone. As any masculine energy person would feel, my ego was fucking hurt. So I wrote her another email. Hey, I couldn't help but notice that you didn't respond to my last message from 2 weeks ago, telling you that I choose misery. What if that was code for I'm going to kill myself? That night, she wrote me back. Hi, Soraya. I'm sorry for the delayed response. I enjoyed our sessions and felt connected to you as a client. Please reach back out if things change and you find that you'd like to proceed. Best wishes. That response really pissed me the fuck off. Let me tell you why. Ladies, when you meet someone with a certain energy, a certain level of emotion, of passion, how insulting is it when they respond with a lesser energy, lesser emotion, no passion? Like, do you think you're better than me because you were able to contain your emotions, compartmentalize your feelings, and take the time to cool off instead of responding on impulse? Fuck you. So I immediately responded to her email. I think it's really unprofessional that it took you this long to respond, and even more unprofessional that you didn't acknowledge that I could have killed myself. And before I pressed send, it occurred to me. It finally clicked. My anger, my hurt, my impulse, my escalation, and my feminine desire to burn the world in this moment, this right here is the antithesis of calm, feminine energy. But instead of erasing the message and going for a walk, I just added best wishes and an XO to the signature block, and I sent it anyway because my therapist is clearly in her calm feminine energy, and true to my seemingly masculine energy, I will have the last word. Anyway, after I sent that email, I started thinking back to how far I haven't come from my very first therapy session with her 8 weeks earlier. No joke, after 15 years of thinking about it and being too afraid to actually do it, I scheduled my first therapy session ever for a Friday afternoon. It was a virtual appointment that I had to take from a local library because, one, I have no privacy in my home where I still live with my parents, my dog, and my brothers, and two, in our Muslim household, I swear to you that our internet is powered by prayer, so it can be pretty sporadic. Like, you want me to have calm feminine energy? Brother, I don't even have calm Wi-Fi, okay? Anyway, that day, I pull up to the library to take my first ever therapy appointment. And for the first time in 20 years, the library was fucking closed for an internal employee training. This is the same library where I take every important meeting. It's where I studied every night in law school. It's where I sat for the remote bar exam during a deadly global pandemic. That library in 20 years was never closed for a single time, and I never saw a single employee. And I'm not the type to be superstitious at all. I'm not. But I do believe in signs. And to me, this was God telling me, don't do it, bitch, be miserable the rest of your life, this isn't for you. The good news is that I had the ability to brush off this intrusive thought and take the call from my phone in my car. And you know what? That's exactly what a calm, feminine energy person does. The bad news is that I don't have calm, feminine energy. In fact, I am the creator of my chaos. So I emailed my therapist 5 minutes before our first session. Please cancel our session. The library is closed. This isn't for me. Charge me the $200 cancellation fee. I choose misery. She emailed me back immediately. Please dial in from your phone. Let's talk about it. Sometimes I think back to that first session and I think, maybe God was sending me a sign after all. Not that I should or shouldn't try therapy, but rather I should invest in better Wi-Fi for all of the angry, intense, impulsive emails that I will send in my future as an uncalm, unfeminine, and unapologetic, intense, high-energy woman. But then I thought even further back, and I tried to remember what it was that gave me that final push to finally try therapy in the first place. Like, after 15 years of thinking about it, what took me there? What finally did me in? And then I remembered. Ironically enough, it was the advice that I got from a man that I found on my favorite dating app, LinkedIn. He lived about 5,000 miles away, and though we never met in person, we got to know each other pretty well as pen pals for a few months. He sent me a really thoughtful message one night. He said, Soraya, I think you would greatly benefit from therapy because clearly your mind is so sophisticated and works so quickly that you successfully keep finding excuses for the patterns that you adopt just to purposely keep yourself unhappy. For the first time in my life, I felt seen. And you know what? That man was gorgeous. And he was very mature, intuitive, emotionally intelligent, safe, caring, nurturing, gentle, calm, feminine, energetic. He truly was the sexiest woman I've never met. I responded to him, thank you for the advice, but I don't negotiate with terrorists. But you know what? I gotta say, I don't completely fault men for having the chauvinistic standards that they've adopted. I also have very specific standards, which, honest to God, explains why a well-rounded woman like me has never been in a relationship. It's because I won't settle for a man who isn't my soulmate. And the reason I know my soulmate isn't in Chicago or even in the USA is because I know exactly where he is. See, I used to be attracted to men like John Mayer and Elon Musk because I thought that what I valued was creativity and intelligence. But now I've realized that if he isn't from the north of Gaza, the south of Lebanon, the camps of Jenin, or the mountains of Dagestan, I don't want him. Because what I really value is a man of courage and honor and enough self-control to not look me in the eyes. Do you know what the men in these regions all have in common? Number one, they don't have calm, feminine, first world problems. For example, they don't change their Instagram handle every 6 weeks because they're burdened by their online aesthetic. They don't dance on TikTok because they desperately want to be perceived by their peers. They don't call women bitches, and they don't go out of their way to break their mother's heart because they crave her attention. Instead, they put the world on their shoulders, and under no circumstances will they ever abandon their values, their community, or their family. The second thing men from these regions all have in common, no doubt, they scrub between their toes 100%, and that's important to me. Do you know that study that says that a woman more often than not seeks a partner that has qualities that resemble her father? I think that's so true. My dad, for example, is from Gaza City. My dad can replace a car engine blindfolded. He can take brass knuckles to the face. He has looked down the barrel of a gun and dared his assailant to shoot, and he's even chased after a gunman while he himself was unarmed. But the manliest thing I've ever seen my dad do is kill a spider with his bare hands. They don't make men like this anymore. And so I've come to terms with the fact that I will be eternally single because one thing I won't do is settle. And I'm not gonna lie, that scares me a lot. It terrifies me to think that everyone in the world is settling except me. Because again, I'm not a numbers girl. But calculus and logic taught me that when everybody is settling except for you, you will never meet your match. Love, remainder one. And even if I do have a soulmate, I just know that his dumbass will probably settle before he gets to me. And then what? Will God recalibrate what's already written and reshuffle the deck so that I can also have a shot at love with someone else now that my soulmate went all in with the 7 high card? Or would I just have to settle too? I'd rather die hot, rich, successful, and single. Which is why earlier, when I mentioned that I don't have a human soulmate, I meant it. But I do have a soulmate. And this is the whitest thing I will ever say in my life. But my dog is my soulmate. I mean that. He's not just a dog. He is my human child with lots of extra chromosomes. Truly, I speak to him like he's a child. In fact, the Ring camera is the worst thing to happen to my credibility as a professional because my neighbors have no business hearing the kinds of things I say to my dog on our walks. You're a good boy. You're so handsome. You're smart. You're brave. Your mom was a nice lady. You would have been a good dad. You know, normal affirmations. He's an 8-year-old Havanese named Havana. I know, super creative, but our Arab household struggled a lot trying to come up with a name for this tiny, white-haired, blue-eyed, 8-pound puppy. We wanted something menacing that would make a statement in our suburban, white conservative neighborhood because my dog has the ultimate privilege, white puppy privilege. My dog is so white that he could call the cops on me. My mom wasn't keen on the idea of a dog because she believes, as many Muslims do, that dogs are impure. And let me just talk to my Arab and Muslim cousins real quick. If you have this philosophy that puppies are impure, or you hate them, or you fear them, I want you to know that you are making things difficult for the rest of us. White people don't think we're terrorists because we blow shit up. They think we're terrorists because we say that we hate puppies. Do you know who hates puppies? Fucking terrorists. I hate when Muslims take things so seriously that they begin to lose logic. Like the Prophet, peace be upon him, loved animals, and he even kept hunting dogs out, and he would eat from the game that they would capture. But Muslims are so serious with God that we even put hijab on our furniture. Sometimes we really do just lose the plot. Anyway, so here we are trying to come up with menacing names for this sweet puppy, and we wanted something strong, striking, powerful. Osama-bin-barkin. Nah, it's too soon and we're trying to forget. Saddam who let the dogs out. It's a mouthful. Ooh, Muammar Gaddafi. It's a tongue twister. We tested different names for about a week. Our neighbor Kathy and her dog Luna approach us one day on a walk. Kathy leans down and says, "Now who's this sweet, beautiful boy?" I smile. "Aw, this is Islamic jihad." Kathy snaps her neck up and her perpetually upside down frown tilts even further down. I told you I'm a fucking poet. The next week we play around with some more names. Instead of names of dictators, we try to think of a stage name, like a rapper. Not like Snoop Dogg or Bow Wow or Pitbull. No, what if we call him Lunatic? Or, Flee the Scene. So we play around with those names for a few days. The next week, the mill lady stops us and extends a bacon treat out to our puppy. She says, "Who's this new fella I haven't seen around before?" I tell her this is holy war. He takes a giant bone treat in his tiny mouth and carries it all the way back home. And when we get home, of course, I take the bacon treat from his mouth and I throw it away because my white dog is Muslim. Alhamdulillah. You think I'm joking, but I'm not. My dog really is Muslim. He doesn't eat pork. He fasts with us during Ramadan. He wakes us up for Fajr prayer. We wash his entire body every time he steps outside. Last week, I was walking with him around the block, and the children of the only other Muslim family in our subdivision were playing outside in their yard. There's about 6 of them, ages 2 to 12. And as we approached closer, I could tell that the little ones really wanted to pet my dog, or at least examine him a little closer to see if he's as filthy as their mom says. So I said to them, "You can pet him if you want." They look at me stone cold, expressionless. I said, "It's okay. He's Muslim, like us." The second those words left my mouth, all of those children's lives changed, and I could see it on their faces. They just encountered something magical. A magical Muslim dog. What a concept. And just like that, I changed those children's entire worldview, and suddenly, the world had 6 less terrorists to worry about. Well, except for the little boys. They'll grow up to be emotional terrorists. But ultimately, we landed on the name Havana, which was a huge mistake because now he gets misgendered all the time. He's pretty, he's clean, he's sweet, he has a good temperament. He never argues or talks back. In fact, he doesn't talk at all. He's autistic, nonverbal. He eats and sleeps and shits on the schedule that I set for him. He never has any good ideas. Sometimes I wonder if he has any ideas at all. He and I have a nighttime routine, and I wonder whether he understands that every night is brand new, or if he thinks that he's reliving the same night on loop. He's simple-minded like that. Like, it makes me sad to think that we can never see a World Series matchup between the Red Sox and the White Sox, because that would be my dog's dream, because he loves socks. He has no goals or ambitions. He is calm, feminine, energetic. He is man's best lover. I'm not. I don't have calm feminine energy that my dog does. See, calm feminine energy is a Thanksgiving side dish. It's the cranberry sauce that you let simmer on low because it's low maintenance, it's bland, it's decorative. It's nice in theory, and it matches the aesthetic, but it sits quietly on the table contributing nothing, and nobody's going to remember it. It's a supporting role. I am the main event. I am the fucking turkey. I'm chaotic, and I will drain your energy, but I'm the reason you show up. I'm the one guaranteed to fulfill you if given the time and space to do my thing, or I'll burn the house down if not handled with care. This whole concept of masculine and feminine is so bizarre, and it feels really antique and medieval. But then again, it seems like everything has a masculine or feminine designation. Even languages designate words as masculine or feminine. Hell, I even think countries have pronouns, right? Hear me out. Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Algeria, Ireland, Sudan, Puerto Rico. These countries are clearly she, her. The USA, Canada, France, UK, Egypt, Jordan, the Emirates. These countries are loudly he, him. Israel isn't it. It's a tool used by the he, hims to destroy the she, hers, like rohypnol or revenge porn. And it's the reason that I suffer from the generational trauma that allows me to root for the independence and unconditional liberation of my she, her sisters. And it's the reason that I believe in my heart that all of the he, hims are terrorists.